Hello, listeners, and welcome to the final bonus episode before Season 3 of Hidden Oaks. That's right, Sunday, October 31st, we've got Season 3 of Hidden Oaks officially dropping. A few new things for this season. We are moving to Sunday releases instead of Wednesdays, so for those of you who keep up week to week, that's that. Also, for people who are really antsy and keep up week to week, once in a while, if you check the website first, at hiddenoakspodcast.com, you might get an episode a day or two early, just so you know. For those of you that get a little bit itchy to see what happens next, you can go there. And then another thing, we're going to be doing releases every other week this season, with maybe some bonus content in between here and there. But we're doing that because we want to really make sure that we don't catch up with ourselves in a way that makes us rush. We want to make sure that we keep bringing you guys the quality that we have set up expectations for at this point. We feel like we do a good show, and we don't want to undercut that by rushing. And as you guys know, we've taken a little bit more time on this season just because things are getting more complex, and because life coming out of the pandemic has slowed things down. We don't have quite as much time as we did before, but we are here. We've got Season 3. We've got a lot of really great stories coming your way this season, and I can't wait to get them all out to you, starting next Sunday, October 31st. That being said, if you haven't checked it out yet, head on over to hiddenoakspodcast.com, go to the merch store, see all the wonderful new t-shirts, buttons, pins, stickers, coasters, magnets, whatever, all the stuff. A lot of it's custom made, a lot of it's made in my own basement. It's not being pumped out of some sweatshop somewhere. So anyway, if you want to advertise your love for Hidden Oaks on your car, on your guitar case, on your fridge, on your person, check it out. All that revenue goes back into production of the show, and we couldn't do it without that and donations. So thank you very much for checking it out. And if you've purchased something already, thank you again very much. Without any further ado, I'm going to bring you the final bonus teaser before we start Season 3. This is called On the Red Plains by Patrick W. Marsh. Welcome back to Hidden Oaks. Most of this faraway red world was not worried about what was happening. For the forests, mountains, hills, moons, and skies, it was just a distant crackle, a bit of trapped teal lightning, snapping, biting, gnawing, and gnashing the ground within this strange reality. It echoed. It shook. Then the silver of the storm vanished. A tempest clapping closed. Afterwards, there would sometimes be a leftover smell, a sharp, acidic aroma of colliding energy, but that was all. Nothing more, nothing less. Besides, there were many other dangerous creatures flying, crawling, and swimming throughout this strange place. A half-complete portal couldn't compete with its legions of oddities. The many organisms, from the smallest to the largest, would still need to feed, hide, mate, sleep, and drink. There was also the old civilization and its lost cities. They were spread like a half-buried stone skeleton through the meadowlands. They were bent, broken, and scattered in rubble piles. They weren't interested in the doorway either. They were too busy being beacons to dead souls, stories, songs, and memories. However, for the molecules around this dimensional thrashing, there was confusion and concern. They were wondering what otherworldly force was trying to reconnect and tear this reality. They were watching a door appear and heard pounding upon it, but did not know who was on the other side. If they could speak, they would have warned everyone, but who could hear the cries of their atoms? Who could answer the subatomic alarm from this realm? Living things were everywhere, but none could listen. On these ruby plains, on a long hill with silver and jade flowers, billowing on warm winds, a four-eyed beast, similar to a fox, stretched its back and hips as it gave a smirked yawn. Its fur wasn't the typical sable, but a kaleidoscope of colors, a furry light spectrum with fangs and talons. Its teeth were a yellowish pearl and oversized. It cried hungrily and dashed into the billowing grass, looking for an occupied rodent burrow for a snack. Beyond that hump of land, over another sheet of rouge dips and rises, a silver pond sat alone in the prairie. Inside of it a worm, coiled and uncoiled. It was metal, scaled and etched with writing that was legible to only a few. Its mouth was a pyramidal beak, with a triangular pit followed by a gaping gullet filled with curved blades. It watched the dirt edge of the water, waiting for the smallest or largest prey to poke its head in for a drink. Rarely did anything appear. This spiral devil was no secret. In time it would dig into a passage through a honeycomb of tunnels. Occasionally, out of boredom, it would rise up out of the pool, letting the purple sky reflect upon its armored back. It lived on instinct and consumption, but even the worm relished the feeling of wind upon its body. Far above that reflective blip of water, in the dark clouds on the horizon, a tower of broken discs and curves loomed down at the patchwork landscape. Someone roaming atop this structure could look down and see the old roads from a long, dead infrastructure. Despite the pillar having a network of roots beneath the ground, it swayed to the high winds. The column pulsed, breathed, and shivered, shedding a black chalky cloud that swung downwards hungrily to the ground. They were always waiting for new minds and eyes to corrupt under their infectious mists. Once they're embedded in brains, capillaries, and synapses, the living would become another slave to the ordinary all around. Back on the ground, a flock of double-beaked yellow birds flew opposite of the grimy living stanchions, casting a collage of winged shadows across the land. This part of the world was flatter than the rest, and distinctly more yellow. The fire grass was gone, and a silver dirt remained. Below the first layer of sediment were massive tracks, large, jewel-edged ladders for trains and other machines to scour across, connecting city to city. Sometimes when the prairie howled right, their rattles and whistles echoed across the empty air. Until the sound. The portal was still trying, intermittently, randomly, distantly, still hammering away at the open air in snags of light and energy. Two blue strings of raw electricity lashed wildly, trying to tie themselves into a knot, but no act of violence or force could forge them together. After a bit, their voltaic pace would slow, then silence would return to the plains. Like the phenomenon itself needed to sit down, pant, and catch its breath. Around the fissure, the red world would blink, then return to its own rules for survival and existence, like it had always done. The Hidden Oaks podcast is a collaboration between Patrick W. Marsh, Robert Don, and Owen Swerkstrom. On the Red Plains was written by Patrick W. Marsh. The voice of Hidden Oaks, performed by Robert Don. Original music composed and performed by David Schwartz. Find more of his works at dtschwartz.com. Produced by Robert Don, Owen Swerkstrom, and Patrick W. Marsh. Check out our merch store and find out more about us online by visiting us at hiddenoakspodcast.com or by finding us on Twitter at Hidden Oaks Pod, as well as Facebook and Instagram at Hidden Oaks Podcast. Stay tuned for Season 3's premiere, Sunday, October 31st, 2021. See you then, folks. Hidden Oaks is an Ironfield independent production. Thank you for listening, and until next time.